With me right now is Toni Smart, and she is running for the Orange County Office of the Auditor Controller. Welcome. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Thank you for having me.
Now, the first thing I want to ask, and we're going to get in your background in just a moment, is explain the auditor and controller. Because let's be honest, people go down the ballot and they see people running for Congress and all this. They get down to some of the offices around Orange County, and they're like, what's an auditor controller? Why am I even going to want to vote for that?
Very good point. You know, I've been out talking with the community, and I run across all types of people, and they're asking me, who is the auditor controller and what do they do? So, you know, we are really kind of the behind-the-scenes support function for the county. When I say that, I mean that we're the ones that are the bill payers, right?
Yes.
We're paying the county payroll, 17,000 employees. We're paying out billions of dollars in vendor invoices and for community programs. And one thing that people may really know or are familiar with is the property tax bills. So we're unfortunately those people, we take the assessor's role.
Right, because you're not the assessor.
We're not
you're
the
not
assessor.
the one who says this is what you need to pay.
Right.
So you can't get mad at them.
Exactly. I guess you could get mad about the calculation of the tax.
Right.
But yeah, a lot of people do confuse that between what the assessor does and what the auditor controller does. So yeah, we apply the tax rates. We call it extending the role.
Okay.
And then we pass that over to another elected official, which is our treasurer tax collector.
Okay.
And they're the ones that are collecting the property taxes. Just a couple of the little things there, I wouldn't say little, they're big, is we prepare the county's financial statements, a big job, as you can imagine.
Yeah.
And then on the other side of the fence, we are also auditors of the county. And we're looking at what I call, in layman's terms, checks and balances to do with financial information.
Would that mean, in some cases, would you be almost autonomous as the auditor? Because you're a county employee if you get elected, but on the other hand, you're sort of watchdogging certain areas of the county. Would that be a fair way to say that, and making sure that their checks and balances are correct?
Absolutely. We are what you call the watchdog, and looking at the check and balances going across county departments. The interesting element of this is we also, under the same umbrella, the auditors are looking at the same office because we have the accounting side of things. And so we have to have that, what we call the firewall there to keep those, the independence.
Okay, that makes sense. So let's talk about your background. Now, you did work for the office at one time.
Yes.
And, because if people look up your name, they'll see there were some issues there, some lawsuits going back and forth, and that sort of thing. So tell me about your time there, and why now are you deciding to run for this, and also your qualifications.
Sure. I was at the County of Orange for 15 years, and I spent 9 of those in the Auditor Controller's office. Just to go back to my last position, it was the Director of Internal Audit. And I was in that role for several years. I also was on the accounting side and held accounting management titles over the financial statement preparation, things like that.
So you're a CPA?
Yes, I am a certified public accountant. I have been since 2002. And so I have about 22 years of government accounting and auditing experience. So I think that makes me absolutely qualified for a auditor controller position. So going back to your question about what happened in there, I did leave. I had no desire ever to run for office. I was kind of the behind the scenes support person. And I decided to run on March 6th, literally last minute. And the reason I decided to run was because a lot of my colleagues were coming to me and they were asking me to please run. We need another name on the ballot. We need another option because we don't like what's happening in the office currently.
All right.
So that drove a last minute decision.
All right, and so, yeah, obviously, I don't know what the deadline was. It was right around
March 9th.
Yeah, I was going to say it was mid-March. I knew that, but I didn't know exactly it was that close. So what are some of the issues that you were looking at? You get into the office, let's say you get elected. Are there certain things you'd like to see done differently or certain issues? Because obviously, some of the political offices, there are real issues that they can, they talk about the homeless, they talk about this and that.
Absolutely.
Being an audit controller, no offense, people are going, well, what are their issues? You know, is it way you want to change the accounting practices, maybe the way things are looked at, that sort of thing?
Well, first and foremost, I talk about restoring integrity. And I was actually reading your poster in your lobby here, this 365 statements of integrity. And what do I mean by that? I mean that the auditor controller sets the example. So if you're looking at being the taxpayer watchdog, you have to look in and you have to say, okay, well, how am I running my office? How am I spending my money?
Okay.
And so number one is that I will cut, you might say, any non-essential positions that do not support the core function.
Okay.
Okay, so there's a number of people that were hired in the last couple of years to perform roles that have nothing to do with accounting or auditing. And so that's about $750,000 right there that I would cut pretty quickly. And that's really important to me. The other things that I would do is I would look at the transparency. And I say that because I've been out in the community. I met with Habitat for Humanity, the president, and talking to her about what information would help them with, for example, looking at affordable housing.
Okay.
And so I'd like to improve the transparency of financial information and make it user-friendly to the community.
Okay.
So they could ask the good, the right questions about how money is being spent. Mental Health Service Act money, for example. All of a sudden, everybody's shocked about, why do we have all this money? 189 million, I'm hearing different numbers. And so that is a role that the auditor controller can have, where we could provide that information in a user-friendly format and get that out to the community.
Right, because a lot of times you're absolutely right. All of a sudden, all this money is being spent on these different issues, these different causes. Whether or not you're for them or think they're good or bad, that's not the point. The point is, it's like, where did this money all of a sudden come from? My taxpayer money that now almost $200 million is available for this. Where's it been? Where's it been sitting? Why now?
Exactly, why now?
Yeah.
And we have Senate Bill 2, which is the, I believe it's called the Home and Job Act.
Yeah.
And and that's another, it's going to be another pot of money coming down to the county.
Right.
And I'm looking at that as I look into the role of the auditor controller, one, ensuring that the money is coming to the county, and two, that the county is spending the money according to what's required and getting the information back out to the public so we don't have another issue of why do we all of a sudden have $180 million and it's not being spent. So those type of things are really important to me. Third of all, because I am an auditor, I was the director, check and balances with all of the funds and the money and how, we call it, in our layman terminology, things like segregation of duties. And typically you don't know about that until something goes wrong and all of a sudden money is missing,
like back in the mid-90s, right?
Exactly.
Where a lot went wrong.
So we want to prevent all of that from happening.
All right, very good. Now, you just changed your website as far as the address for the website, because I know it was a long one. It was kind of hard to find for people online. So now you simplified it. It's just tonismart.us.
I did. I did set up my own website, not spending any tax money. And so I did get some input about that, about shortening my website, and I agreed with that.
Yeah, it was good, because I told Toni beforehand the last couple of days I went to look you up, and it was hard to find your website. I finally found it because I had your flyer here.
Yes,
so,
yes.
You made it a lot simpler.
Yes.
And you can find out more about why she's running there and about the issues she hopes to, if she gets elected, to bring forward and change. And I really appreciate you coming on today.
Well, thank you very much. I want to leave with you my hat.
All right, very good.
And it's, vote smart, and it's just for everybody to vote smart when they go down the ballot.
Yeah, you got to go down the ballot.
Down the ballot, all the way down.
It's a big ballot this time around.
So vote smart and vote Toni smart. Thank you.
Hey, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Pleasure meeting you.
Okay,
Take care.
You too.
And we'll be right back.